যশোদানন্দন ব্রজ জনরঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে Everybody please clap. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 হরি বল। লাগবে না না?
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astutara Sata Sri Srimad Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai Their Lordship Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna, and a very warm welcome on this very cold evening here to the Bhaktivedanta Manor. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for choosing to spend your evening here with us at this beautiful temple. It's actually a historic temple because it was established and opened in 1973. So this is 50 years since this temple has been opened by Srila Prabhupada himself. So we have the good fortune of being in this temple, sponsored to ISKCON by the late George Harrison of the Beatles. And in this way, we are benefiting from all those early devotees' sacrifices, as well as the sacrifice that Srila Prabhupada made to leave India and come to the West to present and give to us this Krishna conscious philosophy. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita this evening, and for those of you who are coming for the first time, and I'm also a visitor to this temple, I'm not a resident here in London, I've been told that on a nightly basis, we are systematically studying Bhagavad Gita right from the beginning. Today we are in chapter 6, we're starting chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, and so we will be reading from the first verse. So if you don't have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, please try and get yourself a copy so that you make it a habit as well to at least read one shloka on a daily basis. It just takes about 10 minutes to read just one shloka, one verse of Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada's purport. So I'm going to start off by saying the offering obeisances and the invocation prayers as well. So if you please repeat after me, I'll say it, and then you will repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the print is a bit small for me from the Bhagavad Gita itself, so I've got it here on my laptop. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Anashrita Karma Palam Karyam Karma Karotiya Sa Sanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriya. So I'm going to repeat it again. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Anashrita Karma Palam Karyam Karma Karotiya Sa Sanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriya. So I'll read the synonyms, the word-for-word translation as translated by Srila Prabhupada. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Lord said, Anashrita, without taking shelter, karma palam, of the result of work, karyam, obligatory, karma, work, karoti, performs, ya, one who, sa, he, sannyasi, in the renounced order, cha, also, yogi, mystic, cha, also, na, not, ni, without, agni, fire, na, no, cha, also, akriya, without duty. So I'll read the translation now. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So I'll just break it up and then you can repeat so you can reflect on these words as well. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, please repeat. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is, obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic. Not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this chapter, the Lord explains that the process of the Eightfold Yoga system is a means to control the mind and the senses. However, this is very difficult for people in general to perform, especially in the age of Kali. Although the Eightfold Yoga system is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes that the process of Karma Yoga, or acting in Krishna consciousness, is better. Everyone acts in this world to maintain his family and their paraphernalia, but no one is working without some self-interest, some personal gratification, be it concentrated or extended. The criteria of perfection is to act in Krishna consciousness and not with a view to enjoying the fruits of one's work. To act in Krishna consciousness is the duty of every living entity because all are constitutionally parts and parcels of the Supreme. The parts of the body work for the satisfaction of the whole body. The limbs of the body do not act for self-satisfaction, but for the satisfaction of the complete whole. Similarly, the living entity who acts for satisfaction of the supreme whole and not for personal satisfaction is the perfect sannyasi, the perfect yogi. The sannyasis sometimes artificially think that they have become liberated from all material duties, and therefore they cease to perform Agnihotra Yagyas, fire sacrifices. But actually, they are self-interested because their goal is to become one with the impersonal Brahman. Such a desire is greater than any material desire, but it is not without self-interest. Similarly, the mystic yogi who performs the yoga system with half-open eyes, ceasing all material activities, desires some satisfaction for his personal self. But a person acting in Krishna consciousness works for the satisfaction of the whole without self-interest. A Krishna-conscious person has no desire for self-satisfaction. His criteria of success is the satisfaction of Krishna. and thus he is the perfect sannyasi or perfect yogi. Lord Chaitanya, the highest perfectional symbol of renunciation, prays in this way. Na danam na janam na sundarim, kavitam va jagad isha kamaya, mama janmani janmanishwari, bhavatad bhaktir ahutiki tyayi. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy a beautiful woman, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Shwayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Please repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One last time and loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is Srila Prabhupada's purport here is very, very potent. He is saying so many significant things to us in this particular purport of his. So for those of you who have just received copies of the Bhagavad Gita, it's chapter 6, text 1 that we are reading from today, from that purport. So I want to actually, and it's a good habit to form, and I believe it's a process that is being promoted as well, where we analytically read every sentence of Srila Prabhupada's purports carefully, because there's so much of meaning in each of these purports. So this is going to be my attempt in unpackaging what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So he starts off by saying, in this chapter, the Lord explains the process of the Eightfold Yoga system. Is a means to control the mind and the senses. So what is that Eightfold Yoga system? Anybody knows what the Eightfold Yoga system is? Right. Sorry, no, just what the overall yoga is. The Ashtanga Yoga process, right? So let's look a bit, when we look at that first bit of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is actually making some very significant points here. The first point he's making is that Ashtanga Yoga, he's talking about Ashtanga Yoga, the Eightfold Yoga system, as a means to control the mind and the senses. Right? And the other day when I spoke about how difficult it is to control the mind and senses. And I ask you as well tonight, if you had to remain silent and just shut off everything that's happening in the world and try and control your mind, fix it on one point or one thought, for how long can you maintain that? Without some distractions, without your mind roaming somewhere and thinking about something. You're probably thinking, when is she going to stop talking? When is this class going to be over? When is the aarti? Is there going to be prasad? So our mind is very difficult to control, right? And even our senses, because we're always trying to satisfy the senses. We love to see beautiful things. We want to smell nice fragrances. You'll see how big a business the perfume industry is. and we want to taste very palatable foodstuffs. So in this way, we are serving our senses all the time, and that gives us some sort of self-satisfaction. But that self-satisfaction is temporary. We are never, permanently on that state of being satisfied, because this is the duality of the material world. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that the point that is being made here is Krishna is saying that there is this process of Ashtanga Yoga, which is for the purposes of controlling the mind and the senses. But it is difficult to perform in Kali Yuga. And he goes on further to say, although it is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes Karma Yoga, which is acting in Krishna consciousness, and says that is better. So the third point in this very outset, when Srila Prabhupada starts in his purport, is that everyone is working to maintain their self-interest, family, sense gratification, concentrated or extended. So we are all always trying to take care of ourselves. We think we are the doers. We don't have that sense of full dependency that the Lord will provide. So we're always making plans for ourselves. How are we going to make sure that we have a good day, that we have good jobs, that our meal is going to be there at the end of the day, that we're going to have money at the end of the month to pay all the bills. So we are all constantly endeavoring in this way to take care of ourselves, then our concentrated family, our immediate family members. We want to make sure everyone is fine and everyone's taken care of, particularly if you're a parent. And then sometimes it's our extended family as well that we want to ensure that everyone is well taken care of. So let's focus a bit on this Ashtanga Yoga process. So what is the meaning of yoga? Anyone can tell me what is the meaning of the word yoga itself? Sorry? Union, yes, to link, to come into union with whom? Who do we want to practice and become united with?
Universe.
God. And who is God? Yeah, Krishna, yes. Krishna in Sanskrit means all attractive. Thank you. What a wonderful young devotee here who understands, Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, he's speaking about the yoga processes, and that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yoga literally means linking, and it refers to linking one's consciousness with the Supreme being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are different yoga processes, and they are named according to the particular method that is used to reawaken one's relationship with the Supreme. For instance, we know that karma yoga is, through one's work, one is going to be engaging in activities, our work or activities, to link us to Krishna. Then there is jnana yoga. That is the philosophical process and the analytical, philosophical process to try and understand and form a union with Krishna as well. Dhyana yoga, which this chapter deals with, and is about the withdrawal of the mind and the senses, and to engage in silent meditation on the Lord. So the Ashtanga yoga process, which is the 8 parts, is linking the Lord through meditation on his form within the heart. And the emphasis is on controlling one's mind and senses. So, do you know how does this process of Ashtanga yoga take place? What is the requirements for you to engage in Ashtanga yoga process? Firstly, you have to go to a secluded place, a solitary place. And it needs to be a sacred place at the same time. So once you get to the solitary, sacred place, you now need to find a place to sit. So what do you do there? It needs to, you need to get to this place. You need to lay down kusha grass and then cover it with deer skin and a soft cloth. Then you have a seat that is neither too high nor too low, and the yogi needs to then sit erect with the body the neck and the head erect in a straight line, and stare steadily on the tip of your nose. Right? And in this way, you withdraw all your senses, concentrate on the tip of your nose, and then subdue the mind. Be free from all sex desire and meditate on the Lord within the heart. And make Krishna the ultimate goal of one's life. In Bhagavad Gita, later on in this very same chapter, Krishna speaks about this process. From verses 11 to 14, he describes this Ashtanga Yoga process. And Arjuna comes to the point where he says, this is too difficult for me. Right? Can you think of yourself engaging in this Ashtanga Yoga process? And for how long can you maintain? Yes, you may try it. Sit erect like this. I can barely sit erect with my neck, head, and body in one line and concentrate on my nose, a tip of my nose, and then withdraw my mind and senses and develop love for Krishna. Very difficult. It is not the process for this particular age. Right? Because, I can speak for myself, and I ask you to be introspective and consider it. Is this a process that you could simply follow and do on a daily basis, or not even a daily basis? The yogis used to do this for their entire lives. They renounce everything and do this, right? But that was for a different time whatsoever. We know we have the different yugas. They're cyclical. We find ourselves currently in the Iron Age, Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So it is very difficult to practice this type of yoga process here, particularly when we find ourselves so caught up in our material activities and in the sense of always wanting to, like I said, self-interest, interest of your family, your concentrated family, your extended family. Can you renounce everything? Go into a secluded spot, maybe in a forest, a sacred forest, and then just say, I'm done with material life, and this is the path that I'm going to follow. And then give up everything and just withdraw within yourself. Do you think you'll be successful in this process, knowing how our minds are and our senses are?
If you do the practice every day, 5 minutes for that, like in your routine life, something in Kali Yuga, I think is enough. That what is Gita is saying anyway, about not like for sacrifice for your whole life, but at least every day 5-10 minutes practice about that meditation.
Right.
If you
Yeah, so the lady is making a valid point. She could possibly do it for 5-10 minutes on a daily basis.
and you can increase gradually that thing.
Yes, you can increase it. It's going to take practice, but and I think it might be possible for some person to do it on a regular basis. It's going to require commitment, right? But is it a yoga process that we can perfect in this lifetime? That given your entire lifespan, all those 5 minutes, do you foresee, and particularly I think we must remember and not lose sight of this, we don't know when death is coming. Right? We don't know when death is coming. So we may be practicing 5 minutes today, increase it to 10 minutes tomorrow, maybe 15 minutes the following day, etc., hoping to get to the point where my 24 hours in a day, I'm absorbing myself in just this meditative mood on Krishna. Right? It's going to take a lot of practice and a lot of withdrawal. Right? But is it a practical process for the people in general? So that is why Lord Krishna, for the age of Kali Yuga, he came in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have small deities of Gaur Nitai there. So Krishna came in the form of his own devotee, and he gave the Yuga Dharma, which is, in different ages, there were different processes. And there's different types of yoga that is described here in Bhagavad Gita. So what is Krishna saying? He is saying, yes, Ashtanga Yoga is there. He is not denouncing Ashtanga Yoga. Let's go back to the purport. What he says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So Krishna is recognizing, and Srila Prabhupada is expanding in the PowerPoint, that these processes exist. Jnana Yoga exists, Astanga Yoga exists, etc. But we find ourselves in Kali Yuga, where it is very difficult to perfect these processes. So the yoga process for this age is, and Krishna is saying here, it's engaging our activities in Krishna's service. So in an age where it is difficult to actually withdraw, we then rather dovetail our mind and our senses and make all our activities, like in service of Lord Krishna. Just like Astanga Yoga's goal is to meditate on the Supreme, the Paramatma within ourselves. The ultimate goal is the remembrance of Krishna in that meditation. But if we perform every act in our daily lives in service to Krishna, are we not remembering him and controlling our minds in that way, dovetailing our mind, dovetailing our senses in that way? And it's a much more simpler process. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Right. So, when Krishna is speaking to Arjuna here, we know that Arjuna was a great warrior of a royal family and a close friend of Lord Krishna. He was actually his cousin. So Lord Krishna understood that Arjuna had all these responsibilities as a warrior, as a Kshatriya. He had his family life, and so that was his occupation. He actually represents us with all our different. I'm not sure if anyone here has the privilege of, I don't need to work. Everything will just happen for me, around me, and I'll be provided with everything. I don't know whether anyone has that privilege. So we, like I've been saying earlier as well, are preoccupied with all of these things just to sustain and maintain ourselves and our family, etc. So in this way, that has become our daily activities. And Arjuna, recognizing the difficulty of the Astanga Yoga process to renounce and to withdraw, he rejects the Astanga Yoga process. In chapter 6, we will see as we read further. And so then he tells Lord Krishna later on that mind is so difficult to control. And so, like I mentioned, the Yuga Dharma is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And when we speak, coming back to the Astanga Yoga, like the lady was mentioning earlier, that it may be possible that one could increase one's practice and in that way begin to perfect it. Just want to come back to that point. Vishwamitra Muni, great sage, was once the ruler, right? He was the king. He renounced everything. And he adopted the process of renunciation, and he went into the forest and he began to meditate inwardly. So he practiced renunciation and he practiced the Astanga Yoga process to go inward and to meditate. And he did it for thousands of years. The yogis can maintain their life there because they are controlling their life airs, they're withdrawn, so they can expand the duration of their lives as well. So he performed this, and if I'm not mistaken, for at least 60,000 years. To the point that Lord Indra got worried. He got worried. This Muni is going to become so powerful. My position will even become threatened. So what did he do? He sent some distraction, right? Menaka, a heavenly damsel. And all she did while Vishwamitra Muni was meditating, just the tinkling of her bangles distracted him. He could understand there's a woman out there. She's got bangles on. And then broke his meditation. And he had a relationship with her, which gave rise to a child being born. So from this, no matter how one practices, there is no guarantee that one will become so fixed that when tempted with any material pleasure, one will not break one's meditation and all that renunciation. We can try. Our renunciation will eventually become like an artificial renunciation. Because unless we engage our senses in Krishna's service, trying to artificially withdraw them is never going to work. On the other hand, we see the example and the contrasting example of Haridas Thakur. Anyone knows who Haridas Thakur was? Acharya of the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established him as Namacharya. And he was born in a Mohammedan family. Right? Can you believe that? And he took to this process of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And in this way, Maya Devi personified. He used to chant, how many lakhs? 30 lakhs or 300,000 names of Krishna, if I'm not mistaken. I probably have it here. Well, anyway, Haridas Thakur, he was chanting, continuously. It used to take him like 22 hours in the day to chant all his japa. In the last 2 hours, he would have just to take some prasad and, for his bodily activities, and then he would go on with this process again, take a little rest. So Maya Devi herself came personified and came to tempt him and was not successful. So here we see someone practicing Vishwamitra Muni, practicing Astanga Yoga for so many years and still, being unsuccessful. Whereas with the process of chanting Hare Krishna, someone like Haridas Thakur, because of his devotion and his sense and his mind being totally devoted to Lord Krishna, in this way he was successful. So this is the process for us. This chanting of the Maha Mantra is the Yuga Dharma, like I explained. And so, it brings me to the point as well about the difference between a Grihamedi and a Grihastha. Right? So we know there are 4 ashrams that we find ourselves in our lives. Right? 4 different varnas and 4 different ashrams, the Varna ashram system. So the first 25 years of our life is meant to be spent as brahmachari or brahmacharini, celibate lives, learning about scripture. What we do currently is we send our children to school, then they finish their primary, secondary education, then comes tertiary education, and then they got to go and work, right? At that point, it's not ideal perhaps to have your child put into a gurukul right now, because you may have some reservations in terms of what education they will receive, whether they'll be functional in this world, etc. But at least you can do is like what you're doing currently, is bring your children to the temple, let them hear classes, get into the habit at home to read Bhagavad Gita together, to discuss these topics. So in that way, they may be getting their material education. And here in the UK, you find yourselves in a very fortunate situation, unlike elsewhere in the world, where there is the government is funding schools here with the Krishna conscious ethos, the Krishna Avanti schools, the Gurukul is here. You don't find this in other parts of the world, at least not where I come from. There are no Krishna conscious schools. So you have that opportunity to put your child into a school where they will get the knowledge that they need in terms of academics, but they will also be exposed and empowered in understanding Krishna's position. Like the little boy, he could already identify who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna. Now can you imagine, as he progresses with that kind of education, how he could perfect his life in this lifetime itself and go back to Godhead? As opposed to, after finishing school, going to university, hanging out with the buddies, then getting involved in, peer pressure, drugs, alcohol, nightclubs, all those things they become exposed to. So the next stage is married life, right? That's the Grihastha ashram. Now, and after we ideally we should be in Grihastha ashram till around the age of 50 or so. By then the child, the eldest child would be in a position to take care of the mother, and the father would go into vanaprastha life, and eventually if we have that good fortune of old age, we'll begin to slowly renounce and focus on our spiritual life. So we find that the Grihamedis are those who are married, but they are married for the purposes of sense gratification. So Krishna is not the center of their lives. Whereas the Grihastha, his life is, even whilst in the Grihastha ashram, Krishna is the center of that family. He is engaged in Krishna service. He brings forth children into this world to raise them and to deliver them as his dependents from the cycle of birth and death, so that they could go back to Godhead, as opposed to Grihamedis who get them more entangled in material activities. So, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says there are 5 symptoms of Grihamedis, and I want to go through this very quickly. They live only for the benefit of the family members, extended or centralized. The word Medi indicates jealousy of others. Now, Grihamedis are those people that I'm jealous. Oh, my neighbor's got a new car. Look at that car. I wish I had that car. Oh, he's gone for this holiday this year, and I want that. It's like comparing and being envious of others. Everything becomes a competition in life. And as a result of that, Grihamedis are not on good terms with other Grihamedis, because it's this counterparts and the selfish interests. They're jealous of each other. They are blind to the knowledge of the ultimate truth. They are devoid of Atma Tattva and don't inquire into problems of life. They have many subjects for hearing, political, scientific, social, economic, and so on, but do not inquire into the ultimate miseries of life, that is birth, death, old age, and disease. They waste their lives by sleeping and sex indulgence at night and earning money in the day and spending the same for family maintenance. They are attached to infallible soldiers. We're all going to die someday, but that attachment exists to our friends, relatives, wives, children, and they're bewildered by the outward glamour of material existence. And what do? They go to work, and the fruits of their labor, because they work so hard, and when they begin to spend it, they gain that sense of proprietorship. This is mine. It's no longer as a Grihastha would do. If I go to work, the fruits of my labor needs to be used in Krishna's service, because that perfects, although I'm engaging in work, because I am maintaining my family who are devotees of Krishna, it's a service and I'm bringing them to Krishna. So, and whatever I do is in Krishna's service. So Krishna becomes the center of the family's life. In this way, when we look back at what Lord Krishna is saying in this verse, and I'm going to go back to it, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work. So you got to go work, but don't be attached to the fruits of your work. And he works as he is obligated. You perform your work. He is in the renounced order of life. So you don't need to artificially renounce. The 4 varnas, like I was, the 4 ashrams, as I was saying, was brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. In this day and age, to take sannyas is very difficult. It means complete renunciation. One who is in complete, a Goswami, one who is in complete control of his senses. That's the meaning of a Goswami. Now, it is very rare to find someone who's totally in control of their senses and can be in touch in the material world, because you find 2 types of sannyasis that I can contrast: the Ekadanda sannyasi and the Tridandi sannyas. So Srila Prabhupada, in our parampara, he awarded, and he was a Tridandi sannyas. Does anyone know what Tridandi means? The Tridanda sannyas? Tridanda, 3, right? When one becomes a Tridanda sannyas, is that they are surrendering their body, their mind, and their speech in Lord Krishna's service. So they don't go into seclusion and become, renounced and go into the forest, etc., and only focus on their spiritual life. Because that as well is described in this purport. And this purport has so much to say. I've just touched on little bits here. Because such a sannyas then is also performing this kind of, or entered into this ashram, sannyas ashram, for his own self-interest. Not for the general welfare of every living entity. So you'll find the sannyasis within ISKCON are traveling preachers. They're not meant to stay in any place for too long. So they don't even get attached to a place. They have to move on and preach. Spread this message of Krishna, of Bhagavad Gita. Deliver the fallen living entities such as ourselves. Give us this process of bhakti yoga. And let us engage in devotional service, to Lord Krishna. All our activities should be dovetailed. When we know we need to eat, so whatever we eat, we prepare that food stuff, that bhoga, we offer it to Krishna. It becomes prasad. It becomes his remnants, his mercy. We benefit from it in that way. We start off our days with an arti ceremony. We worship Krishna, whether it's in a picture form. We know that Krishna appears in different forms. Even his picture, he is non-different from his picture. If you have murtis at home, deities, you can engage in deity worship. So in this way, your eyes, every activity of yours is centered around Lord Krishna in this way. And as opposed to the artificial renunciation, where the Ekadanda sannyasis, they actually want to merge voidism, impersonalism. So, and that's self-interest. So what Lord Krishna is saying here literally is that one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated, you are already in the renounced order because you are engaging in Krishna's service. You've already sacrificed everything in him. He is the true mystic. So you're a yogi because you are linking up with Krishna. You're in union with Krishna, engaging yourself in his service. Not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Not that type of sannyas who may be renounced, outwardly renounced, inwardly, becoming withdrawn, mind and senses, and then performing no yagya, performing no duties to mankind, just for his own benefit. And in that way, he is not that's not the purpose of a sannyas. A sannyas or renunciant means to spread the glories of Lord Krishna. And that is the ultimate welfare work that he can do as a preacher and deliver other people to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. How glorious is that? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, in conclusion in this purport, and I'm going to round up now and see if there's any questions. The purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. So this should be our meditation. Have full faith in Lord Krishna. Make Krishna the center of our lives. Even if we are in the Grihastha ashram, dovetail all our activities. Work with him being the center and the fruits of our labor actually being offered to him and us not being attached to the outcome of our endeavors. In this way, we will be practicing yoga in a way that even renunciants who are artificially renouncing do not derive the benefit of. So thank you very much for spending this evening with us. Please wait, the curtain will open just now in a few minutes at 7 o'clock, and we'll have darshan and arti. In the meantime, whilst we are waiting for that, are there any questions, comments, suggestions? Right. How many of you are coming for the first time here? time from the first time. Good. So every night there is the Bhagavad Gita presentation like this. In the mornings we have our programs. From 4:30 in the morning is the first aarti, and we invite you. There'll be some prasad before you leave. Please do take some prasad. On a weekday as well, there is lunch prasad served. And please do come for the very festivals on tomorrow, actually, is it? We know that last week was Gita Jayanti. It was the actual day that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna over 5,000 years ago. So tomorrow, for the convenience of the public, there will be a presentation at the Haveli where the whole Bhagavad Gita is going to be recited. So please do come and join. You can take a fly and the information is at the counter. Get yourself a copy of Bhagavad Gita if you don't have one. Please read, go onto our Veda base, listen to lectures, and take the association of devotees as well. And this way we will come closer to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. We must think of ourselves like this, that we are, and Prabhupada explains later in that purport that I read as well, about us being part and parcels of the all. So in that way, if I could just use this one quick analogy, and I'm mindful of time. If you had to satisfy, if you want to endeavor separately, trying to satisfy, if you think of your body, right? If the mouth eats, and if the mouth is selfish and say, I'm going to eat this food now, and I'm going to be self-satisfied, how is the mouth going to enjoy if that food doesn't go down your digestive tract into the stomach? It cannot enjoy it, right? It cannot enjoy separate from the rest of the body. Likewise, if you, the hand, your respiratory tract, if the nose says, I'm going to inhale and I'm going to keep that breath for myself only, can it survive, let alone the rest of the body? All the parts of our body need to work in unison. Our respiratory tract, our digestive system, all of them work holistically. So just like that, we are part and parcel. In quality, we have the same qualities as Krishna, but in the minute fraction. And therefore, we cannot enjoy separately from him. Like the mouth can't think, I'm going to enjoy separately from the body and enjoy this food just by myself, only for the mouth. So just like that, every endeavor that you make, because you are part and parcel, a fraction of the whole, you're going to try to enjoy. But all attempts to enjoy is going to be unfulfilling until you link yourself in Bhakti Yoga with Lord Krishna and offer everything, your body, mind and speech. So in that way, you are literally practicing sannyas ashram while still being in whichever ashram you are. It doesn't need to be a change of cloth or an initiation artificially. It's a change of consciousness. We need to accept that we are servants of Lord Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौरनिताय की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna, we're gonna do the Gaura Aarti. It is here on the right hand side, so if you would like to join me, please. Hare Krishna. Jaya. Hare